This video is a part 3 to these two right here. Now you don't need to watch them to understand this. I just want you to know that before we start. The time we have all been waiting for is finally here. After season 2 of the anime, the hype cycle of the mobile game finally started. The fact that this game was able to finally release and actually in a good state is full on a miracle. The development of it is horrible. It restarted 2 times, and I think we all know with any piece of entertainment, when you hear the word restart, especially with multiple in the same sentence, that is automatically a bad sign that this is not going to be good. But somehow, with the power of Uma Musume, they were able to deliver. Saying that people were excited for this is an understatement. The second the game was able to be pre-downloaded, or whatever the App Store ended up calling it at the time, I know they changed the definition for some weird reason, it was automatically on top of every Japanese mobile game store that it was available to play on. Then, after a little bit more marketing, the time has finally came. The launch of the mobile game in Japanese only. It didn't get any other languages at launch. This is something that's not really that surprising to see. It makes sense to prioritize the main language where the majority of your audience is going to be. The global community was way more smaller at the time, so it didn't really make sense to work on them first. No one was really angry when we ended up seeing this information because we all thought that it wasn't going to take long for them to come around. Maybe a good 1 or 2 years for us to finally play the game. All we had to do was wait. It wouldn't be long. Nothing ended up happening after the launch of the mobile game. The global community ended up entering its everlasting pain arc, where we got radio silence for a whole year. No new information, no new updates, not even a mention of the global community. It's like they completely forgot about us existing. Every single live stream, you'll have tons of people of the community inside watching, listening deeply to everything they have to say, just to see if we were gonna get any information, just for us to be disappointed every single time. It got so bad that there were tons of fan accounts, like this one right here, the GOAT of the global community, that doesn't get mentioned a lot for the work that they ended up doing, because we're too busy praising garbage slop YouTubers, where most of them are just failed gacha YouTubers who couldn't be successful from their game, so they move over to this, somehow got a following, and do nothing but make garbage videos and spread misinformation. That's why the global version has almost been out for a year, and people still have no idea how to play the game. Yes, I'm gonna keep on mentioning this. Yes, I keep on wanting you guys to fail because I am winning so much on the global version because you don't know how to play the game and you're stupid. Please stay dumb. I need to win. I'm getting a lot of carrots. Also want to bring up channels like these where they were people who went out of their way to translate Uma Musume's scenes from the Japanese version into multiple different languages so people in the global community could enjoy them. Since they ended up doing this before the global release and before the rise of the plague of AI, a lot of these are actually have very good translation. You can understand what they're saying, and they were one way for people in the global community to get some experience of the game. These channels deserve to be respected more. They were truly carrying the community at the time. Other than watching those, all you could do was just sit down and hope that maybe one day, right around the corner, the global release is going to come out and we'll all be able to play it soon. We just need to stay patient and believe in the power of fictional anime horse girls. But what if you didn't want to do that? You couldn't wait. The urge of you watching other people have fun and you just wanted to be there. You had to play Uma Musume. Look at these characters. Look at these skins. You refuse to be left out. You only had one option, and that is to download the Japanese version of the game, which is something that I ended up doing. But that was a thing that was very difficult to do, especially back then before they ended up adding the game to DDR games. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a Japanese version of Steam where they only sell Japanese games on it. Let me give you a demonstration on what you had to do if you wanted to play the Japanese version of the game and you didn't live there. First, you had to switch your PC to be Japanese, and you had to make a tons of accounts in Japanese. After you do all that, you can go and download the game. Job's done. If you're lucky, because for some weird reason, a lot of people just weren't able to download the game. After doing all that, it still wouldn't run on your PCs. And whether that happens to you or not, it's just complete luck based. Your hardware doesn't matter, where you are doesn't matter. Some people had the exact same builds of others and it worked for them and didn't work for the other. If that ended up happening to you, you had to get an emulated version of the Japanese App Store just so you could go run the game there, which means the game is most likely going to run horrible. This is something that ended up happening to me until I just gave up, tried it again normally, and it just randomly started working. That's how I ended up making my first Japanese account. Notice how I ended up saying first, because another problem that could happen is that your account could just full on delete itself for no reason or just not function. This whole tactic could get destroyed because of one update on the Japanese version of the App Store, and now suddenly your emulation doesn't work anymore, or your DMR Games account just realizes that you're not from Japan and just disappears from existence for some weird reason, or your PC just randomly switch back to its original location. This is something that can happen very easily if you're using Windows, and since the majority of people in the world use Windows, it happened to a lot of people in the fandom. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention the real biggest problem. That's being this game is in Japanese, and as I said before, I cannot speak the language. So you're going to need an English mod so you can actually understand what's happening. Now at the time, they were English mods that were out there, but a lot of them were not good. Now, I want to make myself very clear. I'm not making fun of any of the people who ended up spending time out of their day to translate a game like this for free. I also understand that translated stuff is very difficult, especially a language like Japanese to English. So I respect all the people who ended up putting work into these mods to get it working, but man, when they first came out, they were rough. But we were all willing to go through the sacrifice because we just wanted to play the game that badly, and that's something that I ended up doing. I gone through four Japanese accounts during this time. I'll be playing the account, I get a bunch of characters, I'm building it up, and then suddenly out of nowhere, oops, my Windows uploaded, oops, Windows 11 randomly tried to install, oh no, my emulation just start working, I'm paralyzed. If you wanted to play the game, we just had to go through it, so I just endured. It didn't matter how much times the world tried to stop me from playing Uma Musume, I have withstand and prove myself that I has to be one of God's strongest soldiers, because I spent too much of my free time playing this slop game. It was the only choice I had, and I don't regret any of the decisions that I ended up making, even though I wouldn't be surprised if my whole IP or PC account is on some weird Japanese list for the amount of counts that I ended up having to make just so I can play this. It was very depressing to be a fan at this time, but it wasn't all bad because at least we still had Cinderella Grey. Yeah, I'm going to continue talking about this series and mainly season 2, or I mean season 1 part 2. God, I just despise the way how modern anime is being produced. And funnily enough, during this time where we are in this whole series, or whatever you want to call it, 2022, the parts of this show, that's being the whole arc that ended up being animated, was being released on the manga at the time. Wow. This is something that I didn't plan at all. This was just actually a coincidence, and I just thought that was really cool to bring up. Part 2 is significantly better than part 1, but it's still an Uma Musume story at the end of the day, so it's filled with tons of normal cliches that every single one of these stories that the franchise do, because I quickly ended up realizing that all of them are just the same repetitive things over and over again. So let's just do a quick rundown so I can get to the part of this video that I'm dreading the most. Episode 1 and 2 are actually meaningless. One is about a useless character that does nothing. I already ranted about her in the last part, so I'm not going to go and repeat myself. And the second episode is the beginning of Super Creek's story, but unfortunately she's a Uma Musume side character, so she's going to go through the exact same story that all of them do, and that is when she first get introduced, she's going to be hyped up to be this extremely big threat. You better watch out because she's going to come after you with her ginormous, I don't know her boob size, but they're going to be big, they're going to be clapping, and she's going to be a formidable foe. She even has a new trainer. Look how cool, mysterious, and attractive she is. But since her name isn't Ogeri Cap, she's destined to be sidelined all the time and barely amount to anything to the stories. Maybe if the writers will give her a win or two if they're feeling generous, but don't expect her to be useful in the future. The real meat of this arc are the foreigners in Japan to race in the Japan Cup. They're inviting people all over the world, and you see tons of new characters. Now, I remember when I first ended up reading this in the manga, I couldn't wait for this to be animated. I think all of them have amazing designs, especially these two right here. By the way, this character, you see her? She's on the list. I'm not going to tell you what that list is. You know, those who know ball know. But she's on the list. Unfortunately, all these characters do look cool. They do feel another Uma Musume cliche, a thing that they do all the time, and that is introduce a bunch of characters even though they're going to do nothing with them. I don't even know why they do this in the manga or anime because none of them get added in the game. So you're just filling my face with these amazing characters that are going to amount to nothing and all just get sidelined, and you're just pissing me off, and this makes me frustrated. Especially when you figure out the reason why all of them are being pushed aside. That is so they can focus on one character. That is being Obey Your Master. Such a weird name. You can tell that she's the most important one because on the cover art of this season, she has the biggest splash. By the way, what is with this Mr. Beast looking thumbnail they decided to use for this cover art? It looks so bad. And speaking of horrible, I need to stop using that for transitions. That's like so bad. It really shows my horrible kindergarten level script writing skills. I am going to need a whole section to talk about this character right here because, oh my lord, she is full on the dumbest character in this whole franchise, and that is an impressive title to hold. I mean, we have full on cartoon characters like Still in Love and Angus Tectone that exist. They're trash, but no, she beats all of them. My favorite part about her is that everything that they try to do with her character fails. She's supposed to have this eye-catching design, and I just think it looks horrible. She sticks out like a sore thumb, so I guess that part of her character is good, but I guess this whole blonde with blue hair look doesn't look good at all. And the fit that she has is just so lame. She was really the start of the whole Uma Musume flop arc when it comes to designing new characters. Bro, especially when the 3rd year anniversary ended up getting announced. Oh my god, those character designs were so bad, especially this one right here. Full on NPC background character level look. But I'm getting ahead of myself, okay? We're gonna talk about that way down the line, but I just have to bring it up a little bit. They look so disgusting, and people just pretending that, no, the designs actually aren't that bad. Getting ahead of myself. She's characterized to be threatening and mysterious at the same time, but every single time when they try to do that, it just comes off as goofy, especially this scene right here. Can anime please stop trying to make their characters look threatening by drawing them like this? It just comes off as weird and cringe. And the reaction of this character, who I can never remember the name of, it's just so funny. She looks like she's being robbed at gunpoint, which, I mean, this character is American, so who knows, she could just quick swap and just blast her off of existence. I could come up with a better joke. Come on, I could do something more than that instead of just a generic American gun joke. My brain could come up with something great. No, I actually got nothing, and I don't care. And this scene right here, I was waiting for this to be animated. I remember when I first read this, it left me laughing for such a long time. for how dumb it was that the people inside of my house were concerned because I ended up laughing so hard it sounded like I stopped breathing. I generally want to know, what did the writer of this story want us as readers to feel when seeing this? Was I supposed to react like, oh my god, she's so dedicated to beating these characters? What am I saying? There's probably a kid out there losing their mind thinking that this is the deepest thing that they have ever seen in their life. And this level of obsession of you putting photos of people on your wall, that's so breathtaking. And then her backstory is actually some full-on Tumblr OC level stuff. And I'm saying that in the derogatory way, because most normal Tumblr OCs, that's fine, you know, that's just people having fun. No, I'm talking about those bad Sonic ones. It's so bad. This series is just so trash. And the 5D plan that she comes up with to win the race just makes no sense. It's so stupid. Now look, I know what she ended up doing could be based off the real life horse, so maybe that's something that the horse actually ended up doing in real life, but I don't care. This is an anime and it's dumb. And oh yeah, if you actually think she's going to be relevant in the future, let's play a little game. Let's go back to what I ended up saying a couple minutes ago. What's her name? Okay, that answers your question. And the ending of the season finish off the rivalry between Cross and Ogary Cap. This is just another Uma Musume walk-in stereotype where the rival of the main character isn't racing anymore because of insert reason. And the main character is all like, no, I need you to keep on racing because I love you. And the rival is like, I understand, but this relationship between us, it just can't work. I'm sorry, this is going to be our last race. And then during that race, with the power of pure homosexuality, they both enter a brand new realm of power as they run together. It's neck to neck. It's intense. The animation is looking good, but I think we all know that the main character is going to win the race. And then them and their rivals stop. They stare at each other. Even though people are cheering around them, the whole scene goes dark. The world, it's only like them exist in it. Their heart is beating extremely fast. The energy is still pumping through them. They hold each other and then they kiss. They get all sloppy. That doesn't happen, that's just in my head, but am I wrong? The shocking part about this race is that they ended up keeping all the blood in this scene when this character ended up started running and bashed her head on the gate. Which, by the way, this has to be a full-on safety hazard that these gates are just made out of metal. I guarantee you, this could kill one of these girls where they start racing, they go too fast, and they just completely bash their head open. It's gonna be this terrible bloody scene. And what if they try to continue racing and then they pass out halfway between the race, and then they're like a piece of their skull is like showing because they ripped all their skin off? That's something that could easily happen. I mean, look how fast these people can run, and some of these girls even have the capability to like lift up cars in multiple boxes. This is just a safety hazard waiting to happen, and I just assume these gates just weren't metal, or maybe they were just big enough where you're not going to be able to bash your head on it, but I guess not. You weren't supposed to think about that, but you clearly are, as this is a plot point in the story that ended up happening. And wait, why in the world is she the one singing in the whole ending concert? She did not get third place. Super Creek did. Should she be the one singing the song? Oh wait, I forgot. This is a slop franchise. I'm not supposed to think about that. They want this character and this voice actor to do the dance and sing the song, so they're gonna be the one to do it. And this ending dance, this is something that this franchise has been doing ever since season 1, and I just think they just keep on getting worse every time when they do them. And this easily has to be the second worst one. The worst one goes to the whatever dance scene that ended up happening at the movie. I'm completely forgetting the name of the movie. No, what was it called? Road to the Start of a New Gen. No, actually, no, I literally don't remember the name of it. That's not even a bit. I'm not even going to try to. Yeah, that dance straight up looks horrible. Full on some Roblox dancing animation. Straight up some 3D model dancing. You'll see someone put in a terrible meme video, or I'll put in the background of one of mine. Just bad. This one also looks terrible. It kind of looks rotoscope. It just feels off. It gives me the uncanny feeling, and I don't like that. I can't really explain why, but I can at least talk about the 3D models because they look really funny. They're just way too fluid and they move too quickly. This part right here is my favorite. Just look at them. Look how wacky they look, especially when you compare it to the actual dance move in game. Like in the anime, they got full on some slip-on shoes. And then the last episode is just teasing the character who's going to take the place of Temp and the new rival who we are going to see a lot of in season 2. And yeah, that's it. That's Cinderella Grey season 2. In the next part of the series, we're actually going to be talking about parts of the series that haven't been adapted yet, which I am very excited to do. I just need to wonder where I'm going to go and end off. 2022. We still got no update on the global release. It didn't matter how much we hoped, prayed, or wished for anything, it was still silence. All of that ended up changing when they ended up announcing a Korean version of the game was being worked on, and that completely resurrected the whole global community. Wait, they did actually care about us? They were just working on it behind the scene and keeping it secret for a surprise? Yes, that was the thing that we all collectively ended up believing. And shortly after, when the Korean version ended up getting announced, they were also going to translate it in traditional Chinese. This shot back hope everywhere. It was our time soon. The English one had to be right around the corner. Oh man, we're definitely going to be able to play Uma Musume. But they were even more good news. I mean, our pants were already just completely covered. We had to change it, so we're like the third underwear in at this point. The anime miniseries was going to get a sequel called This. I can barely even pronounce the first one, so I can't pronounce this one either. Just like the last one, they were also going to be 3-minute long miniseries. But they were going to be a little bit different. They weren't based off any manga. They were just completely anime original stories that they were going to make. They also ended up using this to introduce 2 brand new characters, being Sabal, Curse S, and Graham. I'm so bad with these names. We also learn that Scarlet and Vodka, 2 characters that people enjoy a lot, especially me. Vodka is one of my favorite characters in the whole franchise. They were going to be in a lot of these shorts, which, you know, as a fan of these 2 characters, this is just the best we could settle with. They straight up just got robbed of being the main character of season 3. They got pushed back so Kasan Black could be the main character instead. Season 3 did get a couple of announcements, but it was nothing big. It was just one of those things where the developers were like, it exists and it's going to come out and you're going to be able to watch it soon. But the most important announcement about this miniseries was the way how it was going to be released. They were all going to upload every episode of it on their YouTube channel and anyone could watch it for free. This was something that was shocking because at the time, not a lot of anime studios were doing this, especially companies as big as the creators of Uma Musume. It was pretty shocking, but it seems like their decision ended up working very well because a lot of these episodes got tons of views. And this is also something that I'm seeing tons of more anime studios do, just officially uploading their works on YouTube. I absolutely love this. It makes anime way more accessible and easier to watch for everyone. And I have no stakes in the business. All I care about is that can people easily watch the show? If the answer to that question is yes, I think it's amazing and good for everyone. But when the time finally came, the first episode got uploaded on their YouTube channel. Everyone in the global community wanted to go and watch it, and then they quickly realized that it was only in Japanese. They didn't even bother to translate it in any other languages. This was beyond surprising because the Chinese and Korean version was out. They didn't even have subtitles for them. You could only watch this if you speak Japanese. If you couldn't, you had to translate it yourself. Thank God at the time the Uma Musume community was still amazing and was actually a nice place to be, so tons of people in the global community went out of their way to translate the show completely, and not just in English, but a lot of other languages, so people around the world could actually watch this show and understand what they're saying. But this truly made a lot of people in the global space gave up. It got depressing really, really fast. But we're going to get into the dread in that space later, because just like last time, I am going to talk about every single episode, all 24 of these, and I'm going to put them all in a tier list. I actually made it this time. Here it is. There's no joke. I'm not going to make the tier list for the rest of the series. It's what you thought I was going to say, because I also made the tier list that I promised I was going to make. Here they are right here. Hey, I'm a man who deliver. I may not come on time, but I'm going to come eventually. Okay, now there's no joke. Let's go and start a piece of the video that I know I'm going to regret, because that's what past me told me to say on this script, that I'm an idiot and I regret rating all of these episodes. So let us start. Episode 1 is not really that good, which is surprising because for the last miniseries, the first episode was one of the best ones that they had, and I really regret not putting it in an S, but this one is just a stinker. Our first introduction of these two characters are just not great. I do like this line from Vodka though, and just her input in this episode is very funny, even though it's just her glazing on look how powerful these people are. This one, sadly, gets a D. This episode is a little bit more better, but it's still not really that great. The whole joke that they have with this character is just a generic anime cliche of, oh my god, this character is so scary, people have no idea how to react around her. So they just overreact because she's threatening. What am I ever going to do? Whoa. I mean, the joke with Dodo is very funny, especially the part of her still carrying the same soup container that she accidentally gave them because she thought that, oh, this was the one that she was generally wanted to give. This one isn't really that high, so it just goes into a C. Also, this girl right here in the background, she's all over the place. And not just this miniseries, but just in the anime and game in general. The devs, they just love this generic blonde horse girl model. It's amazing. She's truly one of the goats of this franchise that not enough of people bring up. She needs to have her own fandom with terrible fan arts and horrible jokes. But 3, that's when the developers start locking in. Finally, we see the dynamic between Vodka and Graham, one of the best ones in the whole series. The two of them have such amazing chemistry, and the whole joke of her trying her hardest to look as cool and mysterious, an icon of death and destruction that bring terror to the eyes of everyone, and it just coming off as corny nearly every single time, and a lot of people around her see it that way. Everyone but Vodka, who thinks it's the coolest thing to ever exist, sees her as an idol, someone that she has to be and try to replicate as much as possible. It's beautiful. Even what they're doing right now, they're in a non-alcoholic bar pretending to get buzz off drinks, which is just not going to happen because they're pounded sports drinks, and also sipping it in a whiskey bottle as well. And even when Vodka gets a bit of self-awareness, realizing that what she's doing is just dumb, her idol, her senpai, her whatever you want to call her, just straight up puts her back in place, saying that the reason why it's not working isn't because you're just trying to get drunk off non-alcoholic drinks. No, it's because you're not aesthetic enough. A masterpiece. I love this episode, especially these two characters. This is a S tier. Bro, of course it wants to be extremely windy outside the second I want to start recording. Every single time when I want to make one of these videos, that's when everyone just wants to be loud. Now's the perfect time to mow my lawn. Hey, let's just start raining. Random noises outside. I remember one time I wanted to go and record, I ended up hearing a drill outside, like someone picked up the whisk from Sonic Colors. Why are you using a drill in the middle of the day? Episode 4 introduces the final new characters that this new series ended up bringing in the franchise, and it is her. A name that I have a very hard time saying, so I'm probably going to have text-to-speech do it or just not say her name at all. She's part of the how did you even make it into this school type of character, where she is characterized to be horrible at everything, incompetent, and canonically speaking, this place is a very prestigious school where only the best horses in Japan and around the world can go to. So how does she make it in? This has to be some type of favoritism, nepotism, because if that's not the case, she should be blasted off the face of the planet. She's trash. So I have decided to answer this question. In my headcanon, since canonically in real life, she's the son of Sidball Rudolph, who's basically the idol, the LeBron James of the horse girl world, amazing, and someone who gets overly glazed, that's how she's able to stay in no matter how trash she is. Now, this is the answer to this question. And since I'm a YouTuber who's making a very long video talking about something, it's facts. It doesn't matter that I have no proof. People still believe game theory theories, and looking back at them, half of them are just random stupid crap that he just made up. Especially his first Five Nights at Freddy's one when he tried to link the story of the game to an actual real life shooting that happened at a Chuck E. Cheese. I still can't believe that's something that he did. And when I ended up watching this when I was like a tiny little kid, I actually thought that, whoa, this is something that makes sense. What were we doing? Wait, I just looked down at my hand and I just came down to the scary realization. I'm not a generic garbage white video essay creator, so I may not be able to do it. It doesn't apply to me. No, I can't give up. I can make up for all of this. All I have to do is make an unfunny joke about foreshadowing that's a reference to H Bomber Guy, because for some weird reason, a lot of people actually think he makes entertaining content. So since I did that, I have to be one of the cool kids now. Let me slide this into script for later. The beginning of this episode is amazing. The second part, that's when the true beauty begins. First, it ended up spawning one of the most funniest memes to come from the global side of this community. And plus, the whole joke of the drink that she ended up getting did nothing. All she ended up doing was having a fake muscle suit be put onto her when she was sleeping, and it's just a placebo power boost, which made her think that she was capable to do amazing things. It's just a beautiful bit. We also get to see this character who's just shockingly not really that around that much, because she's pretty entertaining in this and also in game. Also, did you know that her sister still to this day does not have an in-game model or a SSR support card, which is crazy because she has been in the game since the beginning and has starred as the main character in multiple events and even is in the anime as a cameo, but she is no show in the game. How is that even able to happen? But I guess it literally took 4 years for this character to be added in the game, so their priorities is all whack when it comes to things like this. Either way, this episode is amazing and it gets an A. Before I move on and talk about the next one, I kind of want to stop right here and just yap about the brand new art style that this series ended up bringing. I hate it. The first one is just better in every way. The thing that I despise about this one so much is just the head. They are so massive for no reason. It makes every single other piece of their body it makes all the rest of their body looks extremely lopsided and bad. My God, why can I not say some words? You don't realize how horrible it is until one of them are lying down or you just have a side profile. They remind me of Funko Pops, and I am part of those group of people who despise those terrible items with every cell of my being, so it's just a big downgrade. I really hope in the future that they realize that this art style is bad and they go back to the first one, but I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon because we got another mini series in this style when Cinderella Grey anime ended up releasing, and they just used this exact same art style. So unfortunately, I think it's here to stay, and that's just tragic. I hate talking about episodes like this. There's not really that much I could bring up except me saying that I do enjoy this one. It is funny, but it's just a classic play on the Scarlet and Vodka cat and mouse relationship that they have. The only real funny moment I can point out is this line right here from McQueen. So this episode gets a wait. Let's stop for a moment right here. What is up with this vending machine in the background? Why is it a weird combination of a 3D model and obvious PNG assets for the drink? What were they doing? Why did he not just draw the whole vending machine or make it just completely CG? Either way, this episode gets a C. Episodes like this are very funny to me because it's clearly a reference to a Japanese something. I don't know if it's a TV show or movie. The only Japanese media that I absorb is anime or sometimes a stage play from time to time. Yeah, that's something that I really got deeply obsessed with for a while, and it is stage plays from other countries. Let me tell you something, you haven't seen true entertainment until you sat down and look at a Georgian concert, because they get pretty wacky around that side of the world. So I'm very positive that all the things that they bring up, down to the outfits that the characters are wearing, are all just reference to something that I don't understand. But even though with me not knowing the origin of it, I still do think this is a very entertaining episode. Them trying to find an item, and instead of putting actual effort like looking around the place or doing any type of investigation, they just automatically start blaming each other, even though that makes no sense. Why would anyone who is part of this group would gain from stealing a tiara from Scarlet? The only thing that I could come up with is that maybe they want to wear it for a little bit, but I'm positive if you just went up and asked her, hey, can I put it on to see how I'm gonna look? She will just let you do it for a while. The jokes in this one, it's just back-to-back bangers. This is something that you usually don't see, because in most of the episodes, even the good one, there was like one dud or something that doesn't really land. But this one, they don't miss. The best one easily has to be what this character is doing, how she's spending all her time trying to solve the equation, drawing on the floor, and the best part about it, she actually gets the problem right, because when she does this again, it looks like she ended up drawing the cabinet inside of the train and inside of the changing room, and that's where the tiara ended up being this whole time, because Scarlet just forgot to pick it up. So she actually solved the mystery and no one just believes her. Amazing bit. This episode easily lands itself into a S. And right after that, we get another amazing episode, and that's being 7. In this one, we're able to see Vodka talk to Sinister Sybil. These two characters have amazing chemistry and just such a good dynamic. Their personalities bounce off each other so well. They were made to be together. But I think for anyone who's been watching this series or know this franchise, you know what sentence is going to come after this. Even though they have amazing interactions with each other in this episode, in the actual game or anime, you don't see them or barely see them actually interact with each other. I don't know why this franchise keep on doing this, brings us amazing combos with characters and just throw it away when they're done. Yes, I'm still pissed off about the nice nature and Major Ryan dynamic that we had in just one episode and we don't see anywhere else. Even though the relationships that Vodka has with a lot of her senpais are very repetitive, it's just her following them around like a dog, trying to replicate everything that they do but failing horribly most of the time. It's something that they can get away with because a lot of the characters that she is heavily attracted to would be big figures with a lot of personalities and just characters that Vodka think is cool. Also, what is this thing that they're writing on their tests? Because this doesn't look like any language. It just seems like random gibberish. And it seems like Vodka is even able to write in this secret language because she has the exact same thing too, as it looks like on a corner of her screen where she ended up signing and writing her name. Also, I don't believe at all that Sybil was able to finish this test that fast. There's no realistic way, even if you look into canonical super horse girl strength, that she was able to do this. She had to cheat. I guarantee you she did the good old classic hide the answer inside of your sleeve and look when the teacher isn't really paying attention to the test. And there she is, right in the background, sitting next to Vodka. That blonde hair horse girl, she has returned to us after being gone for a small period of time. I have to be able to find her model because I know she's inside of the game. I will make this character popular. This episode gets a B. Episode 8 is one of the best pieces of content that this whole franchise ended up making. And I'm not even saying this as a joke. The dialogue in this small 3 minutes is so amazing. The premise of this episode is funny, where it's Scarlet and Vodka doing a competitive glazing competition, talking about their seniors, giving them the full-on 360 before the super soakers suck, talking about how amazing they are. So this character right here can write them in a monthly magazine. And the way how they describe their senpai not only perfectly describe them as characters, but also show the things that these two characters, Scarlet and Vodka, both deeply desires. The majority amount of Vodka's compliments are based off aesthetics aesthetics and her ability to be the center of attention because of the way that she acts, while Scarlett's compliments are way more self-centered and based off making groundbreaking feats off your own talents, like making your trainer glow, which is something that canonically ended up happening in this world, but I guess it's not really that surprising as demons also exist in the Uma Musume world, so I guess crazy scientific feats would also be there. You think this character could find a cure of cancer? General question. And if she did, would she sell it? Actually, she probably would. I don't know what I'm saying. Let me just scrap this whole joke because it's not going to work at all, and it's not really that funny. Also, the way that they were able to convey this information in such a short period of time, and it also makes sense for both of them to be talking this way, it's amazing. A true masterclass of writing. This episode gets an S. It is peak. This episode is just an initial D reference. I don't know if any of the jokes are related to stuff that ended up happening in this anime, because just like the last one, I actually never watched Initial D. The only thing I know about it is the intro because this was a meme in the anime space way back then on the old early days of the internet when every single website looked like crap. Even with that, it's still entertaining, but it is just a basic race. The real highlight of this episode is Happy Meek and the commentary that we ended up getting from Mizuki Sky. Man, I really wish Gale Rush was this good in the actual game. And I also wish we could just see Happy Meek way more. I really want these characters to be added in the game. All of the support characters, because they all have 3D models that look very well. You can actually see them race in game. They can perform the dances if they are able to win the competition. Like if you get lucky enough in the Unit Cup, you can get a win in live concert where it's just the 3 non-playable characters. Please just add them to be 2-star characters. We desperately need more of them in the actual mobile game, since ever since the launch of it, we only ended up getting 1 each year. But who knows? The 5-year anniversary is literally right around the corner, so maybe we may get surprised and actually see some of them, but I highly doubt that. Either way, this episode gets a B. This is the mandatory horror episode, but they actually learned from their last mistake last time, and they didn't try to make this scary, they just went down the full-on comedic route. You have Special Wheat and King who accidentally started talking to an evil spirit demon. I'm not really that familiar with how the supernatural world works inside of the Uma Musume cinematic universe. Maybe if someone who is deeper into it could explain to me the secret power of these life forms. You know, there's a lot of power scalers out there. They may be able to answer the most important question in humanity history, and that is, can this creature beat Goku? But I guess no one is really obsessed with him anymore. The question that they're asking is Gojo. I still think it's crazy that all these years later in the internet, you still have a bunch of people arguing about power scaling about fictional characters. Like, have we not moved on? But I guess I shouldn't really be that surprised because most of the people who are into the power scaling community are just actual fetuses. And when you are a child, that's just the coolest thing to you. Can your character beat this other character? Even though if you realistically come and think about it, most of the time it's just going to be one person getting washed deeply. Also, I think this is the closest a character has ever got in this franchise to actually die, because if the spirit reached both of them, I think it just would have been completely over. It looks like it had the intention to kill, and they were also surrounded by demons outside, so would it have just been over? If she was just a little bit late, would both of them have walked inside of the room and just see 2 corpses on the ground with just their soul completely sucked out? Or would they have been taken over and they would have just continued this cycle of consistently telling scary stories over and over again? Even though I'm pretty sure if you're a demon and you took over Special Wheat, people will be able to tell that she got swapped automatically with the way that she acts, especially if you're someone who's part of her team who talks with her a lot. What am I even bringing up? This isn't even about the episode anymore. This episode is alright. It gets a B. Another really bad one. I am just so sick of the joke of this character already. It's not funny, and it definitely has a racial intention in it. Wait. Oh no, I ended up saying the scary R word. So sensitive people are gonna run away and leave the video. I have to find a way to make it up. What's another funny thing that a lot of bad video essays do? Breaking Bad joke here. Now you have to stay. It is funny to see this character talk about the urge she has to kick down fences being like an addiction, but that is something that I should save for an episode later down the line where all it is talking about that. This episode gets a D. Another really good one. I hate that I'm saying that so much. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's not my fault that this series actually have a lot of good episodes back to back, unlike the last one, which had a lot of duds. Since I was kind of looking back at some of the old videos, and some of the takes that I had talking about the episodes were just wild. This is why I am not for changing tier lists the second I make an answer, because I'll generally be here forever. These videos are long enough already. I love the premise of this, where they're hyping up to this big dramatic gang war, where I actually have no idea what they're going to do, because it looks like they're straight up just going to start throwing hands, because this clearly does not look like a simple race to have fun. Look at the outfits that they're wearing, and speaking about them, all of them are amazing. I want them in the game, especially this one right here. It's so good looking. I love the dichotomy between Special Wheat not really taking this that seriously and just seeing this as a fun event, everyone coming together, but Sudan, she's completely locked in. She looks like she's getting ready to just rip someone's hair out and throw them inside of a ditch when they're done and just leave them there. Also, fun fact, this is the only time that she shows up in the whole series, and that just suck. Still to this day, we were never able to see an actual entertaining version of this character, because her in every single other type of media that she's in, whether that's the game or manga, is actually very entertaining, makes jokes, have good quippy dialogue, the good kind of quippy, not the terrible kind. I love the way how she's depicted in every media, but in the anime, she's literally a actual boring, blank piece of paper level of character who has no personality and is just sad and depressed the majority of the time, but like anime corny depression. So it's just very boring to see. And her being in a miniseries, this was like the only chance we were actually going to have of seeing this character be entertaining, and we got robbed again because she doesn't show up. That is so depressing that this is the time that she gets sidelined. I would want to point out every single scene I like, but I'm just going to be here for a very long time, so I'm just going to wrap it up saying I love this episode. It goes into the A, and holy cheek, why did they have to draw this character this caked up, bro? What were the animators thinking at the time? Oh, and also, let me just go on another, side tangent. I have to talk about how some characters are depicted so differently compared to how they are in the anime and in the game. I already brought up Sudan, but I think the 4 characters that show this the most easily have to be the 4 main rivals you will see in Cinderella Grey. Temp is easily the key example of this, where in Cinderella Grey, she's depicted to be an actual threat, a character that should be taken seriously, and she barely makes any jokes in that series at all. And that is so crazy because in the mobile game and every other piece of media that she's in, she's basically a joke character. In the mobile game, she's actually a full-on victim where she gets bullied and dogged on by every other character. People make fun of her for being broke, for being short, saying that she's not talented. She just goes through the complete ringer and everyone joins in on him. In the anime, Sinister Sybil and their relationship is like a tiny one. They don't really talk to each other that much, but it's a completely professional rival relationship. While in the mobile game, Sinister Sybil just bullies Temp. That's all she does. She just goes up to him and just absolutely bullies her and ruin her day. And that is just such a crazy thing to see. Super Creek has the exact same thing, where in Cinderella Grey, she's actually taken seriously as a character and goes through a character arc. While in the mobile game, she's just the writer's mommy fetish. She's just a complete gooner-filled character who just acts gooned out 24/7. Pure mommy slop. That's just 100% what she is in the mobile game. And that is just so funny to see, because most Uma Musume characters aren't like this. A lot of them are consistent when it comes to the way that they act. Special Wheat in any single scenario, actually Augur Cap is a better example, or Gary Cap in every single scenario that she's in, whether that's in the mobile game, in the anime, or in Cinderella Grey, she acts exactly the same. She's the same character, but other characters like the one I brought up have such a different dichotomy, and I think that is so interesting. Next episode, we get to see two fan favorite characters torture each other for the sake of science, with the premise of it being very enjoyable, these two characters have an amazing dynamic with each other, and the ending montage bit being very entertaining. To see whatever the hell this is and the experiments that they're doing makes no sense, except this one right here. I have to mention, how are some of these outfits even allowed to be raced in? Because if you look at hers, she literally has both of her hands covered. That has to be something against like the dress codes or rules or regulation. Like, would that qualify for cheating? In season 2 of the anime, in the background, there's literally some characters who are wearing armor. Like, how is that allowed? Would that drastically slow you down if you're literally racing with pieces of metal armor on? Or is this just something that I'm not supposed to think about? I think it is. This is a slop franchise. That aside, this episode goes into a B. This is another episode that I enjoy, but unfortunately I don't really have that much to say about it, except that it's entertaining. We get introduced to Fine Mode as a character, which is someone who becomes very relevant around the ending of this series. That's odd because she was completely absent for like the first few episodes, not even mentioned at all or seen in the background. And now she's going to be all over the place, which isn't really that much of a bad thing. I do enjoy this character. I also don't think they handled this situation well. If this character physically cannot function because the urge of her to break fence is just that much of a problem. This is a general addiction that she probably is going to need to go to like fence breaking rehab to go and fix. I don't think giving her more fences is the proper way to do it. Okay, you're just going to make it consistently worse. You are feeling your addiction. These people are bad friends. I enjoyed this episode. It gets an A. When you really come and think about it, episode 16 is actually the mandatory horror episode because this one is way more unsettling and it actually does a good job than their normal generic spiritual stuff episode where one of the spiritual characters comes in and saves the day. Now, it's not going to leave you pooping your pants. It's not that scary, and it's also not going to be something that you're going to see a garbage YouTuber make a 1-hour video analyzing it, saying that it actually has a deeper meaning, even though the scene that they're analyzing is like a badly written Kojima cutscene, but it's extremely deep because he was able to predict the future. I mean, look, Metal Gear Solid 2 was able to predict the future, so it has to be a well-written game. Because, you know, since we look at stuff one-dimensional, we can't just acknowledge the fact that a game could be completely right on its political messages about the world and also have bad writing. You know, two things could exist, but that just fries the brain of the average person. What am I talking about? I'm here to talk about this garbage episode of the anime. It's just alright. I do think the idea of it is horrifying, of you being a plushie inside of a crane machine and it trying to like grab you and put you inside of a hole. It's a pretty good episode, but never in my life I ever experienced having a dream so scary where I waked up covered in sweat. This is something that I can only see happening in media. I guess it's because I've been so desensitized because the majority of my dreams does have me dying in them. Like 2 days ago of me writing this script, I ended up having a dream where I was inside of a horrifying car accident and I ended up losing my leg in it. And after when I woke up, I was crying in the hospital because I realized that I had to be disabled for the rest of my life just for me to wake up and just move on like nothing bad happened. That's just the average dream for me. Anyway, this episode gets a C. 17 is another very enjoyable one. It's just two characters walking around and having a nice time at a ninja exhibit. And unlike the last one, they didn't have some random action-packed moment for no reason to add tension. Well, I guess you could add the whole bit with Digital fully committed a crime and just stalking them and taking pictures of them without their consent. But I guess that's pretty tame because it makes sense for the character to do that. God, I sound like some horrible cartoon reviewer after saying something like that. But either way, this episode gets a A. And I kind of wish we kind of got more episodes like this of just two characters hanging out and doing something normal. Another S tier episode. This one they ended up doing the whole game show premise, but it gets a pass because this is the only one in the whole series. Wait, you're telling me that if you make a joke once and doesn't base 3 episodes on your whole miniseries on it, I'm actually going to enjoy it? Wow, that's crazy. It's almost like saying the same joke over and over again is going to make it less funny. That's good to keep in mind. And the joke of this one is just peak. Mainly the one with Senator Sybil just refusing to change her answers and just answering the same thing over and over again. And when she actually got it right, you can clearly tell that that wasn't the answer to the question, and Taeho just ended up cutting it off the video early just so she can get one answer correct. Beautiful. And the ended bit is amazing because, well, she is technically correct. She did answer all the questions right, and she didn't specifically said that she wasn't part of the quiz, so I support this decision. She did nothing wrong. This is a S. Another episode that is clearly a reference to something that I do not know. When I first saw it, I originally thought this was a Genkin Rappa reference because the blood on the walls was purple and that's what that series ended up doing. But I'm pretty sure they just did that for censorship's sake because they didn't want to plaster red blood all over the place. And I'm saying if that was the reason, they should have did the good old Chinese anime tactic and just use white where it looks like the characters just gooned all over the place for censorship. Who actually thought that was a good idea? But I guess censorship laws around the world is completely different with the stuff that you can get away with. Even though I'm not really familiar with this, I do enjoy this episode, especially the joke that they have with Grass Wonder of her thinking that she completely cracked the code looking in the closet, and Golden Ship having the foresight that that was going to be the conclusion that she was going to come down to. And also the ended bit of her just completely killing Golden Ship, because I'm pretty sure that's what ended up happening to them. I don't think she ended up surviving this. I mean, why would she have an interaction like this? In the Uma Musume cinematic universe, in one timeline, a canonical murder has happened. This episode is very good. It gets a B. Another really good one. The premise of this episode is something that is so good, I am shocked that more shows hasn't ended up doing this. And that is using someone playing a game that they have no idea what they're doing. This is such an easy bit. Everyone watching this is going to be able to relate to at least one character. Vodka is in the role of someone who has no idea how to play Mahjong, so she's just really spending the majority of her time bubbling around and just doing random things, hoping that maybe eventually she's going to be able to win, because she cares more about being around these people than actually playing the game properly, and she's being taken advantage of by everyone else so they can have an easier chance winning the game. But even with that, with a stroke of luck and homosexuality, Vodka is able to get a very lucky pull and win the game. What makes this also good is the ending section of it, as it looks like everyone else who's playing just thinks that Vodka pretended that she didn't know how to play the game because she ended up doing something like this. That's why they're all laughing and they walk around having this dramatic anime scene, even though Vodka generally had no idea how she's doing and she actually didn't know how she win the game. This is another peak episode. It gets a S. 21. Now, most of the time when I hear that social media is going to be in a show or just any piece of media, I automatically roll my eyes because 90% of the time it comes off as really garbage and cringe. Okay, there was only really one TV show that was actually able to do this well, and that's being Pantheon, and literally that's it. Wait, no, we also have The Boys. But this one is a plot that has social media heavy into it. That was a terrible sentence, but I don't even care enough to repeat it. I am going to repeat it, I don't know what I'm saying. This episode plot revolves heavily around social media, but it's not annoying. The whole premise of it is that Fine want to go and start a YouTube channel, and then you have Airsugar being just a critic. But I'm so happy they don't go down the route that most episodes go into when a character is supposed to be a critic, and that is just making them very insufferable. Even though that is accurate with the way how most people criticize media, it's just lame to see all the time. So her criticizing this video, but it being like very lighthearted, it's nice to see. Also, the criticism that she's making just makes no sense. People would absolutely love a channel like this if it actually existed. Extremely rich Irish girl walking around in Japan making videos, opening ramen shops and just LARPing. Bro, that is going to get 1 million views automatically. I guarantee you it would be one of the most fastest subscribed YouTube channels to ever exist, especially if the girl is bad. Well, she has to be bad because, well, if you're a woman, you have to be attracted to even get views on YouTube. So I have no idea what she's saying. But either way, this video, well, I guess it is technically video. This episode is very wholesome. It gets a B. Episode 22 is an enjoyable one, but unfortunately I don't really have that much to bring up. I mean, we have two characters who like to eat and they're in a cooking show. Make an educational guess what ended up happening. Yeah, that ended up happening. I mean, it's still pretty funny, but it's not really that unique. It gets to see. 23 is so good. It's another S tier episode, and I hate the fact that it is. I know I bring this up a lot, but there's no words that I can use to describe how much I will usually hate a character like this one right here. Just generic, she's just like me. Just get out of my face. It's a boring cliche, but she just gets a pass. I have no idea why. I'm here thinking maybe it's because she's a woman, but no, there's tons of other characters who are exactly like this, and they're females, and they still absolutely suck. Plus, I just love the fact that they changed the dialogue in the English subtitles of her saying that she has Riz, because I know for a fact that she did not say that in the Japanese version. I literally seen translated version of the Japanese version, and she was not bringing up the word Riz. So this is something that they only changed for the English version. Even though that's automatically going to make this episode dated in a couple of years, it's still funny that's something that they decided to do. It's not like anyone in the community is actually going to remember this, or it's not like people in the global Uma Musume community actually ended up watching these. I'm pretty sure it's only like a small amount of people who ended up doing it. Plus, can we just talk about this dialogue real quick? What do you mean you couldn't already handle the voice packs? These horse girls have other kinds of merch than the generic favorite character on a candy bar. They have merch packs. They have voice packs. Like they're full on VTubers. What are the types of voice packs that these characters ended up releasing? And who has the most popular one? Because my guess is easily Super Creek. I mean, if any of these characters end up having voice packs, Super Creek is going to be eclipsing everyone by like thousands of chances. There's no chance that no one is ever going to be able to win. Second place is most likely going to be, I would say second place would be Sinister Sybil, but actually come and think about it, I don't know how much people are really in love with that, I guess, cool type. I have no idea what you ended up calling women like her. Bro, I'm not a misogyny maxin, okay? I stopped doing that a long time ago. I'm not sure about all these other types or these lingos that people end up doing, but I do know that Super Creek will be number one. And also, the ending of it, of just this character confessing that she would rather be a cuck than just pick anyone, she's truly just proud of that yes, I'd rather have you two dance in the dance while I sit down in the corner of the chair and watch proudly. I mean, she's one person who's true with herself, so can we really hate on her? I don't think we could. This is a good episode, and it makes it into a S. And last but certainly not least, I don't know what I'm saying. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about to end off this video that's going to be an hour long. Why did I decide to make a tier list? I regret this decision so much. The last episode is just a generic race that exists to send off the series. It's good. It's entertaining. I like how they reference every single thing that ended up happening in the season. And I also want to take this moment to mention one of the funniest jokes that they have, and that has to be with this character right here. Ever since episode 2, you can see her in the background. Just a giant version of her in the background doing nothing. And this is a bit that they consistently keep up and doesn't drop. It is so good. It's a continuous joke that they keep on doing. And it's so funny. I love this is something that they did, and this is like the first time I'm ever going to mention it. And her being in space is truly just an amazing send-off to probably one of the most funniest jokes that this franchise ended up doing. But that is it. This episode gets a A. I enjoy it, and I also was really wanted to see who ended up winning this race. Like, I spend my time freeze frame trying to figure out who won, and I straight up cannot find who ended up winning. I completely lost it. Anyway, that's it. I'm finished. I'm done. This episode is so long. It's like going to be an hour and some. This is part 4 of the long Uma Musume review series. No, this is not part 4. This is part 3 of the long Uma Musume series. I'm going to try to get part 4 out as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. No, this is not the end of the video. I have completely forgot to talk about episode 13. I'm going to be honest, I was going to leave it out and just talk about it at the beginning of the next part. Kind of like what I ended up doing when I forgot to talk about season 1 OVA. Then I remembered that next part is solely going to be me talking about Winning Live, the music that they ended up releasing when the game came out. And that is so time consuming. I'm probably not going to have enough of time to actually add in that bit. That video is probably also going to be an hour long, maybe even longer. So let me just talk about it real quick right here. No more being lazy. This is the mandatory rap episode, a bit that is in so much spice of life, and most of them are just horrible. But this one gets a pass, mainly because this episode is one of the most funniest piece of trash that you could ever see. All of the rapping that they do is just horrible. The first one is kind of okay, mainly because MT Oprah O is the one singing, even though the dialogue she has is trash, straight up some ABC Tomodachi Life level rapping. It's okay because I like this character. I also like the sound of her voice, and the opponent that she's going against, Grass Wonder, is the exact same thing. Horrible rapping, but she has a very nice voice. But the second one, the competition between Winning Ticket and this character's name that I can never pronounce. Oh my god, their line is horrible. One, Winning Ticket is just completely screaming every single one of her lines, and it's just so annoying. This character's whole voice in general is annoying, but most of the time it's like endearing and charming. This time it's just annoying, and also the insult that the other character is saying is just really mean. Like, she's full on just calling her dumb and just saying insults, and Winning Ticket is not really responding. Her tactic is just to love bomb the opponent over and over again until she makes the other person feel bad, and I guess it works because it looks like they both ended up agreeing at the end. And then the last bit with this character, it's just so whatever. The best part of this episode is Angus Digital is seeing her absolutely just spill up a bunch of blood because she's seeing two of her characters start rapping, and also the GOAT make a mandatory return. Now, I could go into a bit how a lot of Japanese rap culture and just K-pop in general, yes, I know it's a different culture, but whatever. I could basically go into how a lot of that culture takes from black culture and black media. That's a conversation I'm perfectly fine with, but I'm not going to get into that conversation because I'm talking about Uma Musume, but I do love bringing these stuff up because it is funny to see people get angry about these things. Anyway, now the video's over. Hello world, it's me from the future. Now first I need to say thank you to you, because if you're watching this part of the video, that means you ended up staying for the whole thing. I'm very grateful and I hope you enjoyed it, and even if you didn't, you watched the whole video, so you clearly got something from it, and that makes me real happy. But me sitting down, I came down to the sudden realization that I have to make another Japanese account because I need to get gameplay when I actually talk about this game of the other scenarios that currently are in the global version. And since it's going to take around, like, I think 3 years for the global version to catch up with the Japanese version, and I don't want to wait that long, I don't want to make this video series that long, I just need to go and download the Japanese version. So you know all the things I end up saying about the VPN and it being significantly easier now to make a brand new Japanese account? Yeah, that's flat out just a lie, because I can't get this working no matter what I do. I've tried absolutely everything. I use Steam, I use the other website, I even tried emulating it. I even tried emulating the Google Play Store on my PC and nothing worked. No matter what I do, I always get connection lock and I can't log on the game. This is crazy because just like what I end up saying in that section, I got some of my friends to download the game using the exact same tactic and it worked perfectly just fine. But me? No, I'm just not allowed to enter. I'm literally just being blocked. This is the most annoying thing on the planet. I full on getting hit with like the VPN bodyguard or whatever. I don't even care. Just region lock dumb crap, and now I can't log on the game. And this is terrible because I can't get the gameplay any other way. I can't steal footage from other people. Most people in the Uma Musume community don't play the actual game. So of course they don't have footage of the Japanese version of it at all. And I can't go on like Japanese YouTube. I can't speak Japanese and I can't type Japanese either. Well, I can, but I don't have a Japanese keyboard, so I don't know what to search up. And copy and pasting and searching on YouTube is meaningless. So I'm done. This is crazy. And I have to make my account now because currently, as a recording of this, it's the 5 years anniversary. Okay, Almond Eye just came out. I like this character and they have double 3 stars. Okay, I can get all my favorite characters at the same time. I'm seeing so much people get all these polls and they're getting like 3-star characters. I didn't even know that was something that was physically possible. I thought 2 was the max. I have to join in on this, but of course, now this has to happen. Currently, right now, it ends tomorrow, and then it's no more. Then it's going back to normal rates. How is this happening to me right now? What have I do to deserve this suffering? I hate region lock games. I hate whatever the person who makes this called, and I also dislike Golden Ship as a character. She's not really that funny.